What does that feel like? Music. Could you feel it in your body? Does it move your soul? Music is medicine to me. There is a power. And let me just start by saying I'm not wearing shoes. In case you were wondering why the heck I'm not wearing shoes, why is the minister not wearing shoes? Good morning, everybody. My name is Reverend Nicole. Because I need to be grounded right now. And I have my shoes are like 4 inches tall, so that's not going to work. But I want to talk about this idea of rising up and reemerging. And I don't know if it's okay. I don't know if it's time, if we're ready. I don't know if we're tired of having to continually rise up and reemerge. But I'm reminded when Daniel says, when he sings, when he gives us a dose of this medicine for our soul, that even though we can't understand it, even though we don't see it, even though we may not think that we have the power within us, that sometimes we have to be wiped out, washed out, broken open, and on our knees or whatever it is before we can allow to surrender to what is and to the truth of our being. And so I think there's musical medicine that has been kind of weaving its way through my life, and I know it has through many of ours. But what comes to me right now this morning is the sun will rise upon me today. Have you heard this song? The sun will rise upon me today. And it's a Ricky Byers song, but what it reminded me of, what it came to me, was this whole idea of, this is the science of mind philosophy that we are studying and practicing in the Centers for Spiritual Living. And in this philosophy, we recognize that there is a power for good in the universe and that we can use it. Sounds simple, not always so easy. But how I'm sorry. I'm just gonna come over here. Let me know when you're ready. Okay. How we utilize it is what makes the difference. It's what many of us don't realize we're doing, but we're always creating. We're always creating our future. We're always creating our past. We're always creating our present. How can we be doing this? How can we be always creating it? Because it is not what happens that we react and respond to. It is the consciousness of the collective, of the one mind, that then creates. And out of that creation comes what is and what affects us. Does that make any sense? Yes. So life doesn't happen to us and then we're poor victims, unfortunately, right? I have to look within and feel into and be honest with, where am I at and what are the ideas that I am truly believing in? And I think that this is the self-awareness that we need to cultivate in order to rise up and reemerge. Because I would heed a warning to every one of us that as we come into life, as we eventually let go of this collective pandemic, which will take a collective letting go of, that we don't enter back into life or the fullness of it, the full vastness of it, the same way we used to. I would ask us to consider, I am asking myself to consider, putting ourselves back in the bedroom for a minute, so to speak, right? You know, when your parent says, go to your room, you're in trouble. We're not in trouble, but we don't want to be in trouble. So let us put ourselves back into our room. Let us put ourselves into that silent place within ourselves that is that high place that resides within us that knows truth. And from there, let us reemerge, not out of fear, not out of reactions, not out of a duty or a conditioned, this is what has always been, so this is how we're going to be, but from a, is this what is right and true for me? Does that make sense? Is it scary to be willing to do what is right and true for you when maybe everybody else is going to go over there and do that thing? Yeah, it is. And that is, if science helps you at all, then I will just let you know that there is a part of our brain that doesn't want us to be this person who's standing talking to a bunch of other people, right? Because that makes us not part of the crowd, but separate from it in some way. At least that's what the amygdala tries to tell us, right? Like, attack. They say that stage fright is worse than the fear of death for most people. It's because of that, like, attack. And so I understand that there could be a caution within us to say, oh, I don't want to stand up. I don't want to speak up. I don't want to have to be the one to ... But Jordan Peterson, I don't know if you've ever read his book, The 12 Rules for Life. He says that only someone who is willing to be foolish as a beginner can ever become a master. And what this means to me is that it's by being willing to step outside of this box that we've created and say, I'm not going to live in fear. I am not going to. What are you not going to do? What's something that you've been doing throughout your life and you continually have to keep working at it? Procrastinate. What's that? Self-criticism. Oh man, my inner critic is a beast. Well, worry. I am negative self. Like, judge. So these are things that we have, right? And that we hold, and we've set them. So we're acknowledging them. And for those of you who spoke them out loud, I just want to give you credit for being transparent. There is something in the speaking out loud of the crap that's inside that heals it up. And you've also made yourself, did you raise your hand? That it also makes you accountable. And I hope that we hold each other accountable. I hold myself accountable to be a reliable context for spiritual truth if I'm going to stand here. And that doesn't mean that I don't walk through fire. And it doesn't mean I don't want to quit many times. I wish I knew every lyric to Daniel's song because I feel like it's my life. I don't know if you are familiar with Reverend Dr. Kathy Hearn, but she used to say that she, for 15 years of ministry after Terry Cole Whitaker, left the church done in San Diego, and Dr. Kathy would say, every Monday I would quit, and every Tuesday I'd come back. And I realized that I kick myself sometimes because I say, oh, you did it again. You overworked yourself. You did too much. You blah, 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 blah. See, are you ever going to learn? Do you ever hear that song? Does that ever? And then that is when I have to shut it down and say, wait a second. Where are my tools? At least let me crank it up a little bit and turn on some musical medicine. What is music medicine for you? Moody Blues. Huh? Beatles? Anybody else? Is Karen Drucker? Yeah. Daniel Neymar, Lindsay Hunley. it's the interesting thing is that with Lindsay and Daniel and all of this is I have a deeper appreciation for the music medicine that comes through into this ministry, because I spent my whole life in the Centers for Spiritual Living. I would see the practitioners stand up, and one day I said, "Oh, I want to be like them one day," and all of this. But I'm always being ministered to every Sunday, right? And then you transition, and then it becomes, wait a second, who? The musician becomes my minister. Do you know that? Do you know what I mean? Because I don't get to have the Josh here every day speaking, or every Sunday speaking to me, or whomever it was at whatever time. Who was it in Riverside we loved? Shelley, right? Shirley. Anyway. And so the music becomes what grounds me. And when they sing during meditation, it centers me. And when she does the offering music, it uplifts me and it reminds me. And that's why I was so grateful when my practitioner said, "Can we bring Ricky Byers back for a concert?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And she said, it was as if she could intuit that we needed some musical medicine for our soul, you know? And there's so much I could say about all of this, but what I really, really want to get across this morning is that we recognize that there is this power and presence right with us. And the fact that when we turn on music, or Karen or Daniel or Lindsay or Ricky or any of these beautiful people who play such deep, soulful music, that we realize that all of that we can feel, it's coming from us, because there is only one. And there's the 5 nations, when they come together, they give a prayer of gratitude. And it's not just on in Thanksgiving time or November, they give a prayer of gratitude for all of life and all of nature, because it brings them to a feeling of unity. And I invite us to allow this whole pandemic, let it give us one major lesson: that we affect each other, that we are connected. What we do affects everyone else. Do you realize that? Do you see that? What one person does and travels and then does and travels and then this and that and this and that, and it's an interconnected web. It's like Indra's net, only someone might say the dark side of the moon of that, but there is one. And that is why we can hear each other. We can hear the music and the medicine. Let my soul surrender. The greater I shall be. Use me, oh Lord. I stand for you. So I just want to pray right now. I just want to pray and stand in this knowing that there is an energy and a power, a vibrational goodness that is moving in and through me. And I know that because there is only one, every time I get up when I've been knocked down, every time I rise again, I am rising for everyone. And every single person who is hearing my words is my brother and my sister in this life. We are the human family, and we rise together by individually going within to that sacred place of Most High, that spiritual center, what Ernest Holmes calls that individualized center of God consciousness, which is each and every living being, every sentient being of life. We are alive and well. We are alive and well in the goodness and graciousness of a divine intelligence. And I deny anything that seems to oppose this. I deny anything, any action, any word, any any notion, any inner critic within myself that opposes our good, that opposes the fulfillment of the glory of our life. We are Spirit's way of demonstration. We are Spirit's way of knowing itself and loving itself. And for this, I say, yes, thank you. Thank you, Spirit. More, please. Yes, thank you. Because life is good and God is good. Whether I can see it or not, whether I know it or not, I know it. We know it. And it's done because I said it is done, and I feel it and I know it. It is complete. And so it is.